Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. Thank you again so much for our time together. Welcome to the shores of the Sea of Galilee, one of the most peaceful places I know on earth. It's so quiet, and so nice, and so beautiful. Our tours have just finished feeding 5 buses of people at the restaurant. They've had kebabs and chicken and giant tilapias that's called St. Peter's fish here, and fish fillets and unli salad. It's been a great day. Later on, it's the 14th. We'll be having a beautiful renewal of vows at the wedding church of Cana. It's going to be a wonderful time. So you keep praying for us on tour. But right now, I want to bring you back to our Savior. I want to bring you back to the book of Mark chapter 3, beginning with verse 20. As Jesus entered a house, and the crowds began to gather, soon he and his disciples could not even find time to eat. When his family heard about what was happening, they tried to take him away. He's out of his mind, they said. But the teachers of the religious law who had arrived from Jerusalem said, "He is possessed by Satan, the prince of demons. That's where he gets his power to cast out demons." Now I want you to notice all of these horrible attitudes that came against Jesus and the apostles for their hard work of the ministry. Now you'd think everybody's happy, people are being blessed and ministered to, but bad attitudes, they just come to our life. We don't go out and invite them necessarily, but bad attitudes do come to our life. First of all, I want you to notice the bad attitude of family. And it continues down in verse 31. Jesus' mother and brothers came to see him. They came to enforce a family decision. They were upset because Jesus was working so hard he didn't even have time to eat. And they just thought, this is just too much. And they wanted to stop him. Many times in the life and ministry, you're pouring your life out. Like Paul said, I'm poured out like a drink offering. You're pouring your life out to help people, and it's a pleasure and it's a joy. And, sometimes there's not a lot of sleep. And sometimes there's not a lot of time to rest. And sometimes you miss meals. But it's such a joy to serve God's people, and you're pouring your life into people. And the next thing you know, your family is having an attitude. Now, if you're involved in ministry, you're involved in Christian leadership, you're going to face this at some point in your life. And I just want to encourage you, your family loves you. Their bad attitude is not coming from a negative source. Their bad attitude is flowing from their love. They misunderstand you, but their heart is right. Their head is wrong, but their heart is right. So be a little patient with your parents. Be a little patient with your brothers and sisters when they think that you're just working too hard in the ministry and you need to lighten up and have a life. Just understand they said the same thing to Jesus. But it's not because they're bad people. It's because they love you and they just don't understand. Jesus said, my meat, the thing that gives me strength, is to do the will of the Father. They don't understand that pouring your life into helping people doesn't tear us down, it builds us up. But there are other bad attitudes that come to us. Now, look at the next verse there. Verse 22. But the teachers of the religious law who had arrived from Jerusalem said, he's possessed by Satan, the prince of demons, and that's where he gets his power. Now, these people had come all the way from Jerusalem. Now, if they had walked direct, no breaks, no stopping, 18 hours a day, they could have got down from Jerusalem in 6 days. But probably a little more leisurely trip would take someplace between 10 days and 2 weeks. So these people were inconveniencing themselves for 2 weeks down, 2 weeks back, so 3 or 4 weeks of their life, just because they wanted to yell at Jesus and say their opinions in Jesus' face. He's possessed of a demon. Have you ever noticed how motivated angry people are? To do all of that traveling just because they wanted to say something ugly to Jesus. One of the hardest things to understand in Christian leadership is how motivated angry people are to say ugly things. Let me say that again, how motivated angry people are to say ugly things. You wish love would so motivate some people, but it doesn't. But this anger, this hostility, this bitterness drives people to do a lot of hard work just because they want to rebuke you. If you're in Christian leadership today, just learn to understand these things. And I wish I could say let it flow off your back like water off a duck's back. It doesn't work that way. But what you can do is make a decision to never let a root of bitterness get in your heart and just come to a place of peace like we're here right now. Find your peace in Jesus. My Uncle Lester used to say it this way: other people's heads are a poor place to keep your happiness.